Hello friends and welcome to Chadowfax Games. I'm playing TR-49 and when I left off I discovered these titles for these Hammerstone books, HP books. But I wanted to backtrack a bit. Not there. I want to backtrack to the first academic list journal because I learned how to load up a list.
I come to the home of rational thought. Let's begin with a common example.
Alright, so, there's this, but there's also a list available. So the code for list is LI57? Yes, LI57. So we've got, we're missing just issue 10.
Academicalist Journal, issue 10.
Now let's look at 532. So we can try 3 years after 7, because I don't think the jump happens until here. So 3 years after 7 will be 35. Beautiful. Alright, so we can assign that title. Where's Academicalist Journal 10? There we go.
Academicalist Journal, issue 10.
Silverton has taken his reputation and torched it in the most spectacular fashion, committing to aerospace major and minor. This new work is a symphony of disgrace.
Alright, in case you didn't hear that, Silverton has taken his reputation and torched it in the most spectacular fashion. Committing to errors both major and minor, this new work is a symphony of disgrace. Reading JS31 made me seek out issue 10 of Academicalist Journal to get PL's take on it. He says Silverton should become Kendrick's butler since he will be waiting on his every word regardless. Maybe there's no explanation for why Silverton lost it. Maybe the LR covered it at some point. That's the literature review. Let's see, we have additional info from Cecil. It does. LR53 has the details. Okay, so I need to remember to come back here, but let's start with JS31. Any clues here? Total rubbish. After the success of quantum conceptuals in nature, Silverton looks like he's drowning. Is this the work of another writer completely, or the last one? I'll have to find his first paper to be sure, but he was barely done with his degree when he wrote it. But I don't have high hopes. Issue 10 of Academicalist Journal covered it, I think. Otherwise, I must redouble my efforts to find Kendrick's 1932 work. Okay, so it's not quantum conceptuals in nature. It's not the Rampage books. Is it astral perplexities?
Astral perplexities?
That's a negative. Is it notes and discoveries? You know what? I bet QL24 may be notes and discoveries.
Notes and discoveries.
It is. Okay. We're gonna hop to that really quick, see if there's anything new there.
Quantum conceptuals in nature.
Okay. Notes and discoveries. QL24.
Primitive man, he who remains.
Remember that gaps contain more substance than pillars. Review early text for lacunae. Review Pemberton, she saw it all. Folding, overnoting, lines as structure.
Okay. Okay, so that's locked in now. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to previous. Okay. Okay, so PK32, let's give that a shot. Kendrick's first publication on dark matter and its perception is heavy. Kendrick's first publication on dark matter and its perception is heavy, intense. Reminiscent of Silverton's 1929 work, but more ambitious. Then Kendrick Goes Mad follows up with a novel, PK36. I got it years ago, didn't realize it was fiction. Issue 16 of the Academicus Journal said it was eye-opening. Ideas, or idiots, or perceptive. After that issue, they shut down for the remainder of the occupation. Okay. So there's a clue about the Academicus Journal. They shut down for the remainder of the occupation. Yep. After 16, I kind of figured that out already. So, PK36, do I have that already? I don't think I do. Kendrick's first publication on dark matter and its perception.
Matter in the dark?
Nope. Silverton's 1929 work. So let's go to JS29. Yes. This is the most incredible book I've ever read. It's lightning from a clear sky. It's impactful, revelatory, impossible, fabulous. Joshua Silverton, only 6 years old, must have been the greatest mind in dark matter energy. It's hard to summarize the content, so make it and read it. But he's basically mixing DP96 and Lamarchant all, and using early quantum mechanics to pull it all together. Here's the payoff. The unresolved information that creates a quantum system is meaningfully recreated within a reader's mind when they read it. It's obviously true. It's completely revolutionary. It's how revisions are born. After publication, Silverton embarked on a lengthy American tour. He took as long to write another paper as it's taken me to track it down. Okay. I'm going to say this one is dark matter, or matter in the dark.
Matter in the dark?
Nope. Okay, let's try DP96. Dorothy Pemberton was a genius, a visionary, and a very ill 15-year-old when In My Dreams was written. Her ideas lived longer than she did. Silverton used them in 59. Really? So do I have JS 59? I don't think I do. In 29, okay. Yep, so I've seen this one before, so I'm going to... go to previous. CC 11. Okay, I knew that. Let's check out JS31. Quantum conceptuals in nature. Okay, so hang on. So we're going back to this one. So this one is quantum conceptuals in nature.
Quantum conceptuals in nature.
What we do not see is, by definition, motion.
What we do not see is, by definition, in motion. Okay, so then going on to JS31. Okay, so I have the title for this, I just don't know what it is. 1932. So do I have JS32? No, that's Kendrick's 32. Okay. So, Kendrick 32, did he say anything about this? Or issue 10 of Academicalist Journal, AJ 35.
Silverton has taken his reputation and torched it in the most spectacular fashion, committing to errors both major and minor. This new work is a symphony of disgrace.
LR53. This is literary review.
Yes, Kendrick was known for his quick wit and roving eye. But what was less well known was that he was a sucker punch if you smiled at him. The first woman to figure this out was Emma Mayflower, and she took him on her teeth.
Volume 50.
We seek not to be a reflection of what is being produced, but rather a beacon, showing what ought to be made.
Okay, I'm gonna have to hop back.
Yes, Kendrick was known for his quick wit and roving eye. But what was less
Back.
Silverton has taken his reputation and torched it in the most spectacular fashion, permitting to heroes both major and minor. This new work is a symphony of disgrace.
So JS31. What was JS29? Quantum conceptuals in nature. Astral
perplexities?
Nope. Okay. Alright, so PK-37, temporality waits for no man.
Legend tells us there must be two men in every love triangle. But there is only him and two of us. And we fight like dragons beneath the earth.
Okay, VE-47. Okay, hang on. Do I have the code for this? What is PK-32? Silverton's 19, it's reminiscent of Silverton's 19. So PK-36 is reminiscent of Silverton's 1929 work. What is Silverton's 29 Quantum Conceptuals in Nature? Oh, I don't think I have a title for this yet. Alright, so let's look at the list. Okay, so where should I start? Let's try Greenwalker. I don't remember what that was. EK. Remind me who EK is?
Jin knew that to leave the path was to commit a great transgression, but the call of every rock and shrub was too strong. At least no one was watching.
All right then.
AL-12 was published the year Dad died. So when did Cecil die? When did Cecil die?
Okay, let's see.
Okay, wrote a new log entry every 10 years and won the year before he died. So that's something to look for. I don't know how I missed that earlier. So we're gonna go based off that. Let's try CC69. Another 10 years. The machine is old now, like a friend to me. Recent additions of which I am most proud notable. JS24 and XY55, all significant in very different ways. I tried to remove Rampage Azimuth Ascending from 39 and couldn't.
Azimuth Ascending.
Okay, so who was the Rampage author? So it's IA39. Okay, we'll come back to that. And couldn't. B will not tell me her password. She says I should already know. Women, who can build on such quicksand? Then another additional log. And another one, 69. There is no use trying to hide the truth. Beatrice has left me. She keeps Elise away too. She says I have become a hermit. Quasimodo in his tower. But it is because of what happened with Henry. Hermit is not the worst word she could use for what I am. If I could change this thing about myself, I would, and perhaps with the machine I can. When I was a boy, my father took me fishing. It was the only time we spent together. We used wicker traps that sat in the river and caught the trout that flickered by. This machine was such a trap. It catches ideas and holds them by the fins, contained and yet wildly alive. So we've got a lot going on here. So let's start with IA39. And we know what this is. This is Rampage
Azimuth Ascending.
Good. We've got 4 of the Rampage titles now. I still can't believe Rampage isn't the first one, but it might be the last.
The machine tilted its head to one side and began to chuckle, a dark noise like a river of chocolate running over cherry stones. Nothing about it made her feel any more comfortable. She tugged at the manacles on her wrists and said, bravely, "Get it over with then." The machine nodded, lifting the bishop high before slamming it down. Checkmate, it purred.
All right, the machine tilted its head to one side and began to chuckle, a dark noise like a river of chocolate running over cherry stones. Nothing about it made her feel any more comfortable. She tugged at the manacles on her wrist and said bravely, "Get it over with then." The machine nodded, lifting the bishop high before slamming it down. "Checkmate," it purred. The 5th of Isambard Arklovovich's 7-part Rampage cycle. A sentient robot with a penchant for disaster falls in love with a tentacled alien of indeterminate gender. The result is a fascinating exploration of power and self-knowledge on a canvas the size of the universe. These books, I'm sure, will be remembered in the decades to come as signposts signifying both great social and artistic change. Another reference to Silverton and a powerful evil magic which destroys the caster. Is this a warning for his friend? So there's an IA42. So 33 is Swords in the Dark, 39 is Asimov Ascending. Then we've got 3 here, so that's 5. So I'm looking for 2 more Rampage titles. Let's try IA42. 10-year rampage cycle. Okay. The final novel in Eisenbard Arklovovich's 10-year rampage cycle sees strands from the previous 6 novels brought back together in a reflection of the original novel. An impressive feat after 10 years, though one that rather taxes the reader's memories and patience. Personally, I found this an underwhelming follow-up to Alienation. Where is Guinevere's great insight? Where is her pluck? Okay, so I've seen this before. So 42 and 32 are the beginning and end. So Alienation is the second to last. And it's going to be... Where is it? IA 39, 33. So it's going to be in between 39 and 42. So I'm going to guess 40 or 41. Let's try 41. Let's try 40. Found it. So this is Alienation.
Alienation.
You can't survive this, she screamed, the desperation in her voice, the first honest sound he had heard from her. I can and will, he replied soberly, and you will love me for it. And then he raised the blade and struck.
You can't survive this, she screamed, the desperation in her voice, the first honest sound he had heard from her. I can and I will, he replied soberly, and you will love me for it. And then he raised the blade and struck. Okay, the sixth of IA's Rampage books followed quickly on the previous, suggesting, frankly, less editing than usual. I confess to being disappointed by the protagonist's endless introspection, the fiery pace of the Sword Moon.
The Sword Moon
is long gone. Meanwhile, alien characters are becoming increasingly coded, in my view, as women. They are natural community builders. They consider their appearance. They nurture the young. The bafflement Arklovovich gives this behavior is quite honestly somewhat embarrassing. Silverton is not mentioned. Whatever Arklovovich feared, perhaps it is now too late. I knew it. JS40 proves it. Okay, so I'm gonna come back to this, but I want to go down this really quick.
What we eat, we devour. What opens, pulls. Bindings cannot lift. Reality hangs like a darkened cloth over our eyes. We mourn it.
Not sure what proves. Interesting. I'm not sure what that all means, but,
You can't survive this, she screamed, the desperation in her voice, the first honest sound he had heard from her. I can and will, he replied
alright,
soberly,
so
and will love me for it. And then he raised the blade and struck.
I believe the first Rampage book, so not IA-42, but IA-32, is going to be the Sword Moon.
The Sword Moon.
Yep, let's go to it.
Primitive man, he who remains?
I bring you a message which called trailing long fingernails around his nipples. It is a message of terror and destiny. Then tell me, he said, I am not afraid. But in truth, he was.
Okay, I bring you a message, the witch crooned, trailing long fingernails around his nipples. It's a message of terror and destiny. Then tell me, he said, I am not afraid. But in truth, he was. Alright, so looking at what we have for the IA novels, we've got 4 of them identified, 32, 33. We've got only 2 more titles, so I'm still missing a Rampage title.
No salt, he cried. What kind of palace is this? Salt does not keep well in space, the lady replied only. It goes as sour as warm milk.
I'm gonna try the next year. Nope. Alright. The Moon Sword.
The Moon Sword.
Part 3 is a subtle twist on the formula established so far, as Arthur and his knights, see IA-33, take to the stars in search for the Moon Sword. So
All
there's
right,
that in
then.
the title.
The Moon Sword?
Nope. So hang on, let's take a look at this. Sword Moon, swords in the dark, not the Moon Sword. IA-42 was a reflection, it said, so let's try the Moon Sword.
The Moon Sword?
Yes. Okay, so... the title is a reference to JS-31. I haven't found the title to JS-31. But could JS-31 be the pen of Galileo? So let's give that a try.
The pen of Galileo.
And then IA-35 is the Glen of Galileo.
The Glen of Galileo.
All right, I think we got it.
The empty void stretched out before them like a midnight meadow. We ride until we can ride no longer, the king declared. And we find salvation or we find despair. The horses breathed into their glass helmets. Then, with a beat of a crop, they began to charge.
Part 3 is a subtle twist on, The life-giving grail is never found in either scenario, but the discovery of a time portal in the wilds of Scotland sets up further entertainment for the second half of the series. The title is a reference to JS-31. Yep, so let's go to JS-31.
Discoveries not made, they're discovered. Found. They emerge from doodles and afterwards as we have when we're walking about the place. It's as natural as breathing.
Discoveries are not made, they are discovered, found. They emerge from the doodles and half-thoughts we have as we're walking around the place. It's as natural as breathing. Okay, so...
Another car. Closer this time.
Alright. JS-32. No 32. No, Kendrick.
Damn it, they found us.
Okay. Not sure what I can do about that. I think probably because I found a certain number of books and titles. But, hopefully I'm not going to be left alone here. Let's... go to IA-42.
That last power surge must have made us visible. They're here. They're right here.
I can't hear anything.
The crypt you're in is pretty well buried. They're almost on top of me. I don't know how long I can stay on the line.
Liam, you can't leave me.
Listen, Abby. If I disappear, just keep going. Find End Peace and destroy it. Every record. Delete the whole damn archive if you have to.
Don't go. I don't know what I'm doing here.
Abby, I was never down there with you anyway. You've been on your own this whole time. Just keep going.
Liam? Liam!
Damn it. They're here. Don't forget what I told you, Abby. And don't let anyone tell you different.
Liam?
Destroy that book, Abby. You have to. For all our sakes. Get it done. Goodbye.
Don't go! Don't leave me down here! Oh, Jesus.
On that note, IA-42.
He stood on the brink of the cliff, and of something else. He was a man, yes, but now more than a man. From his back, the long, articulated extra limb coiled up around his head. He heard her laugh, once, and then he jumped, falling and rising, both and all at once.
He stood on the brink of the cliff and of something else. He was a man, yes, but now more than a man. From his back, the long articulated extra limb coiled up around his head. He heard her laugh once, and then he jumped, falling and rising both and all at once. Alright, so I've got those named. I'm going to go check Cecil's codes again, because I know he was adding to the machine as late as 77. So I can try 79.
I have told him, the little one, that Henry is his father. It's better this way, I think.
Interesting. So this was added by Beatrice. Beatrice, my husband wrote a card like this every 10 years to celebrate this precious archive of his. He cannot do it today because he is lying in God's own archive under the ox-eye daisies of Highgate Cemetery. It's his time at Bletchley that got him a plot. I'm sure he and Marks have been arguing these past 2 years. So Cecil died in 77 and he wrote a log the year before he died. Dearheart Elise has expressed an interest in taking over. I will try to dissuade her. It is a waste of life. She is only 18. So Elise was born in 61. My darling Cecil, rest in peace. For your demons, you were a good man to me, but I hope you know that I had to leave. I will read through these cards to hear your voice one last time before I go. CC 76 last, and then, once I have gone, I will never come back, and I hope time buries this terrible place in dust and rubble. So let's go to CC 76. I'm writing this early because I'm getting weaker. I feel myself slipping. My mind has always been my rock. I feel vertigo. At first I thought a book had poison on the pages, as in the tale of Dubon from AG04 and AD45 too, but no, it is more serious than that. I know from my research that words create a potential which can be realized. That is why the books in the archive are destroyed as they are ingested. That is why this machine must be kept secret. These books may be studied cautiously, yes, but they must not be closely observed. One more. How has it come to this, all for one man whose mind I never respected anyway? It is the height of foolishness. The correct pattern of her life was so plain for all to see. All I had to do was conform to it. Okay, so we've got, what is it? AG04. Thousand and One Nights. I've been unable to satisfy myself with exactly who wrote this book or when. It is infuriating indexing old books because they do not have authors. Instead, they seem to assemble themselves over time. How can one build on such quicksand? He said something similar about women. So I have indexed the 1001 Nights under the name and date of its European translator, despite this most definitely being incorrect. I find myself, like the Sultan himself, thoroughly dissatisfied by this outcome. Alright. AD45. A woman's strength lies in her physical prowess, but not in her physical prowess, but in her ability to manipulate and strategize. Dumas' Queen Margot is full of villainy and plot and assassination. Poisonings abound. It is a romp, no less. BE47 adores it. I missed a branching off a while back about an XY, so I'm gonna see how far back I can just go. We found all of Cecil's entries.
I have told him, the little one, that Henry is his father. It's better this way, I think.
He stood on the brink of the cliff, and of something else. He was a man, yes, but now more than a man. From his back, the long, articulated extra limb.
Discoveries, not names, they're discovered, found. They emerge from doodles and afterwards as we have when we're walking about the place. It's as natural as breathing.
Silverton's first work, he was barely done with his degree. So we know when Cecil died now. He was barely done with his degree. 29 would have been at 26. Wrote one more letter after he died. JS-44. So let's go to JS-29. Let's find out what we can about Silverton.
Philosophy is, by definition, emotion.
So when would he have graduated? Like 22? Like, so when he was 22? So 4 years. Let's try JS-25. JS-26. Oh. JS-27. JS-21. JS-22. Oh, there is a 24. So I don't know if that was the correct way to find it, but it seemed like I had little to go on there. So, Joshua Silverton, a 20-year-old Yorkshire man, tries to...
Semiotic assertions.
Let's do it.
Semiotic assertions.
Out into space, one sees the majesty of the cosmos, and you can't help but think, man, so small, what good is he? And yet, who made the statement? It wasn't the Nazis.
Joshua Silverton, a 21-year-old Yorkshire man, tries to join up cognitive science and astrophysics and keeps getting stuck on God. Semiotic assertions is the result. See R.A. 2 years later making a much better fist at it. Silverton knew he didn't have the stuff. A few years later, he's resorting to theft to make his name, not something a Mancunian would ever do. So R.A. 26. Okay, so I've been here before. I finally found it. Reverend Alfonso drawing dark matter entanglement and theology together. I fed in the Bible already because of my view. It must all be connected if any of it is true. R.A. lived for 100 years like a reward, dying in 63. Did he meet PK? Probably. Probably not. Kendrick would have looked through him. Drawing dark matter entanglement and theology. My God, he dances?
My God, he dances.
Yep, okay. Alright, so my god, he is a poet. How the gaps between the lines define the world. Let's look at Reverend. Academicalist Journal says he wrote a masterpiece, lived to 100 years old. So basically 63 to 63. All right. I'm going to keep going to previous after that distraction.
When one looks out into space, one sees the majesty of the cosmos, and you can't. What we do not see is, by definition, motion. Discoveries, not made, they're discovered, found. They emerge from doodles and afterthoughts as we have when we're walking about the place. It's as natural as...
The empty void stretched out before them like a midnight meadow. We ride until we can ride no longer, the king declared. And we find salvation or we find despair. The horses breathed into their glass helmets.
Alright, so I want to see CE32. The moon sword, a reference of course to the same holy object as CE32, insists will save humanity itself.
I see problems. They move like wood lice, scuttling into the cracks in society.
Okay, so I've seen this before.
The empty void stretched out before them like a midnight meadow. No salt, he cried. What kind of palace is this? Salt does not keep well in space, the lady replied. I bring you a message, which crooned, trailing long fingernails around his nipples. It is a message of... You can't survive this, she screamed, the desperation in her voice, the first honest sound he had heard from her. I can and will, he replied soberly, and you will love me for it. And then he raised the blade and struck. He stood on the brink of the cliff, and of something else. He was a man, yes, but now more than a man. From his back, the machine tilted its head to one side.
I'm getting back through the IA novels, because there was something before that, I believe. XY55, this is what I wanted. Okay, I couldn't remember. JS24. Oh, had I skipped JS24? Okay, I've got it now. Okay, so XY55. So I'd gotten caught up in this and ignored these two. XY55. Youngman's first book, short, simple, and obsessed with observation of Mars through poor quality telescopes. DME isn't mentioned. How could it be? Then Youngman idly suggests he sees more on rereading his own text than was initially present. Many years later, he looked deep into that pool. Another milestone for me. I will have to file another of my decade markers. Also, Latour is quite wrong. What was AL's code? Not bad for someone born in the 18th century, even if only just. Okay, so XY
Okay,
55.
let's see.
Young men, what else do we know about XY? His first book. An image on water?
An image in water.
Nope, that is incorrect. What do we know about Youngman? No. XY 55 and XY 78. Okay, got it. So, we're gonna hop back. Well, first I want to see what the actress has to say. Going to hop back to 55, and it was not this. It was Matter in the Dark.
Matter in the Dark.
Words are
entangled with the concepts that they embody, and with the conscious preconceptions that animate those concepts. Thus, words have a power to create as well as to describe.
Okay. Its words are entangled with the concepts that they embody and with the conscious preconceptions that animate those concepts. Thus, words have a power to create as well as to describe. Many years later, he looked deep into that pool. I think that may be a clue.
An image in water.
Nope. Well, I'm making progress. 36 out of 50 books found, 31 named, 41 titles found. I didn't mean to do whatever that was. What on earth? XY 78.
When a single man imagines a better future.
EE 47. Or no. Nope. Can I type? Alright, so really quick, I want to go back to TR-49, to the root directory. Last source entered, number 50. Okay, textual reassociator, 1949. Okay. All indices take the form XX00. Last source entered.
He had believed that the machine could benefit humankind, but the longer it ran, the clearer it became that humankind stood forever in a line, with those at the front taking the largest share. So, to put all the value in a single place was to starve those who could never reach the front.
Huh, okay. So, we've got some codes. So I've got CC49, which would be off of this. I fed in 2 more volumes, one you're going to hate, and one, the weapon of the enemy. Has me scared just as Emma is writing her last book, The Worst of the Worst Comeback. Oh, and I found a letter written the year I left, but hidden. Left for me to find, or I don't know. 50 sources, 50 root sources in all. Okay, so we're looking for the 50 root sources, but there are some other ones. The Weapon of the Enemy, written by the worst, just as Emma is writing her last book. Who's the worst of the worst? Is it the church? RC? Oh, RC 92? Yes, 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 yes. So this is the weapon of the enemy.
The weapon of the enemy.
When your enemy has an idea, that idea is to be shunned. But the Bible shows us that when your enemy has a weapon, that is God's way of giving that weapon to you. It is meant to be taken. It is meant to be turned.
Okay, when your enemy has an idea, that idea is to be shunned. But the Bible shows us that when your enemy has a weapon, that is God's way of giving that weapon to you. It is meant to be taken. It is meant to be turned. I found this on the floor of the archive hall, Dad. Someone was in here in the years I was away. I know how they found us. My mother's grandfather, William Dooler, was one of the original members. What if they are still watching?
All right then.
Dooler. Beatrice Dueller. Favorite book, RS-83. Grandfather's name was Will. Okay, so I'm going back to previous.
He had believed that the machine could benefit humankind, but the longer it ran, the clearer it became that humankind stood forever in a line, with those at the front taking the largest share. So, to put all the value in a single place was to starve those who could never reach the front.
Okay, so the year she left would have been 14 years before 92, so 80, 78. He would have been dead by then. But, nope,
I
7.
have told him, the little one, that Henry is his father. It's better this way, I think.
So, CC-78 doesn't give us anything. Let's go back.
He had believed that the machine could benefit humankind, but the longer it ran, the clearer it became that humankind stood forever in a line, with those at the front taking the largest share. So, to put all the value in a single place was to starve those who could never reach the front.
BC-78? Nope. BD-78? No, Henry. She married Henry. Who is Henry? So, Beatrice Dueller. But she marries Cecil Caldery, and then she goes on with Henry. Got nothing on Henry. Okay, we've got some codes here. RC92, AC85. Alright, well I think I'm going to pause there. Thank you so much for watching this. If you enjoy my content, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.